Hi Aquarius, this is your horoscope for August 2023. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I'm going to give you a rundown of what the planets are doing in August. And hopefully that'll identify where the planets support you in certain areas and where you can make the most of things and where you need to look out for potential challenges. Now, we've got a month ahead of us which contains a retrograde of one of the personal planets and a pretty significant personal planet. So we've got three personal planets. We've got Mercury, the communication planet, Venus, the planet of love and beauty and creativity, and Mars, the planet of drive and ambition and desire. And from the 22nd of July until the 3rd of September, we've got Venus, the love planet, in retrograde. And in your case, it's at 26 degrees in Leo in your 7th house. So unfortunately, Aquarius, I feel that there's the potential for a lot of conflict in your relationships, particularly you being gaslit. And the reason I say that is at the beginning of the month, on the 1st of August, we have a full moon in your sign in Aquarius. And the moon is your heart, right? It's the way you feel. And it's what makes you feel comfortable and at home and rooted and taken care of. It's the mother. So with the moon being in Aquarius at the beginning of the month, you really move into August feeling literally like you're in your element. Things are going well, you're communicating well with people, you see the best in other people, you've got ideas that you can communicate easily. You may even be looking at doing something for the greater good, or being charitable or considerate of others. And the startling thing about August, I feel, that you're going to run into is that other people really don't see things the way you do and are very likely to put you in the wrong, or they're going to be very reluctant to see your point of view. And the sinister thing, I feel, is that I think a lot of people will see your good nature, which will stick out like a sore thumb here in August, and feel a sense of, I can take advantage of that. So the thing with Venus retrograde, as a rule, it's a bad time to start a new business or a new romantic relationship. And in your case, I would really say that this August 2023 really is a bad time to start a new relationship. Because one, the person will appear to be different than they seemed at the get-go. And second of all, there's a tendency for you to miss certain red flags or kind of warning signs. And for you to get involved with someone who is happy to take all your good stuff and to give very little back. So like I said, the point of these horoscopes is to see what the difficulties are so you can avoid them. So if you can, and if you meet someone at a cocktail party and you're totally enchanted by this person and you're ready to run off with them a few weeks later, then please hold your horses, because it's very likely to go belly up. It's not likely to be this wonderful fairy tale that you've kind of got planned out for yourself. You have Mercury and Mars in Virgo in your 8th house. So the good news is that and you're similar to Libra here, but you're kind of on the flip side of things. Libra is going to have problems with personal relationships. I think now, anyway. But then no issues in other areas, right? Whereas in your case, you're having these issues in your personal relationships with people wanting to take advantage, potentially. But when it comes to your professional relationships, you in connection with institutions and government bodies and corporations and all those things, you will have a very good dialogue. And despite the fact that Venus is in retrograde, you can look at all the information that's being discussed and really pick up on any errors or any attempts to kind of bamboozle you, and to highlight those before you get sucked into anything. So the reason I say don't get into new relationships and don't start new businesses is because during the retrograde, things can often go awry. But out of all of the signs here, I think when it comes to professional relationships, you're the one that's most protected, because setting up new ventures with other people, groups of people, I don't think you're at risk of falling into these traps just because you're so switched on. That was my Mercury retrograde. You're so switched on intellectually that you'll avoid those problems because you'll see them ahead of time. So same thing, I suppose. Other people are still being a bit sketchy and trying to take shortcuts in order to get something for themselves and to ignore other people. You'll be able to pick up on that. So if you do want to launch something or start new things, It's fine, just keep your eyes and ears open and avoid some of those problems. On the 16th of August, we have a new moon happening, and that's a new moon in Leo, and that happens in your 7th house as well. So I think this is the peak time of the month where you're likely to have conflict with other people, and it's a new moon. So new moons and full moons, I always say, are kind of 3-day events. So around the 15th, 16th and 17th, watch out for really nonsensical conflict that doesn't lead anywhere. I mean, if at the end of it there's some sort of outcome, great, but that's not the kind of conflict I see coming your way. I just see, tempers flaring and people kind of squaring up to each other, and it's a battle of wills. It's not about anything real or concrete, so it's best to be avoided and ignored, I feel. On the 23rd of August, we've got Mercury going retrograde, and it goes retrograde until the 15th of September. So now where I said the first 3 weeks are really good to have these working relationships with big groups, with Mercury going retrograde on the 23rd, the last week of August isn't as good for that kind of stuff. The problems from your personal relationships now kind of spill over into the professional side of things. So if you need to do anything in that sphere, do it in the first 3 weeks of August, ideally, and don't leave it to the end. And the fact that you've got all these issues with other people, the areas where you don't have a lot of issues are your 2nd house and your 4th house. So people who've been in your life for a long time, they aren't going to make waves or take advantage of you just for the sake of it. And also when it comes to your career and your finances, I don't see a lot of turbulence or kind of chaos that you have to deal with. So with that said, focus on work, use your new ideas to reach out to groups and institutions and to say, hey, is there the possibility of us working together? And kind of networking in that sense is going to be really good for you in August. And then also enjoying the simple pleasures of your home life and your family and your friends who've been around for a long time. The key thing is to stick to your guns in the sense of, I know I'm right, or these ideas are valuable, and just because other people are shutting me down doesn't mean that I should be shut down. Yeah. Whereas I don't think you have the confidence of, I am absolutely right, this is going to go my way no matter what. I think you have a much bigger tendency than the other signs to compromise and to let yourself be gaslit and to say, oh yeah, well, maybe it wasn't such a good idea. Maybe I was being delusional about this and maybe I should just throw it out the window and forget it. So that's the risk that you have. And that's why I'm saying it's really important that if you have an idea or a plan that you think has value, to keep that as it is and not to question it, because the likelihood of your plan having genuine value is like 100%. On the 28th of August, we've got Uranus going into retrograde, and Uranus is the planet of the miraculous and the unexpected. Jupiter, the lucky planet, is next to it, also in Taurus, and both of those are occupying your 4th house, your family, anything that represents your roots, where you feel comfortable and safe and secure. So that's interesting because it signals that your family relationships and relationships with good friends, they've been amazing all month anyway. But now with Uranus going retrograde until January next year, the likelihood for you to have problems in those areas are very, very, very small. So that gives you the time to enjoy your relationships and to focus on all these work things. And it's just a matter of discipline, of not letting yourself be put down or letting yourself be told that your ideas have no merit. That's the real... That I think would be the big loss if you let yourself be convinced of that. It's much more likely that other people are jealous or that they don't share your vision or that they can't share your vision. And for them, it's much easier to just dismiss you and shut you down than to engage with it. So make sure that you commit to what you're doing and that you don't deviate from that. On the 30th of August, we have another full moon. That's something that happens really rarely. So 2 full moons in a month is called a blue moon. The second one is called a blue moon. And this blue moon is a supermoon. It's closer to the Earth than any of the full moons this year will be. So the influence of the full moon at the end of August is going to be very profound. And it's a full moon in Pisces in your second house. So Saturn, the planet of structure and security, and Neptune, the planet of dreams and intuition, they're also in Pisces in your second. So you've had good ideas for networking and implementing ideas in work. At the end of the month here, you'll get your higher self chipping in and giving it and providing the ideas of the universe, source, your guides, your angels. And if you combine your own ideas with the ideas of your higher self, you'll really be sitting on something that is super, super valuable. So do you see why it would be tragic if you let someone else convince you that your ideas are harebrained nonsense? Because you're really sitting on, let's say, gold. You're sitting on something valuable that can really transform your future. The key thing to watch out for is not to let other people take that dream from you. And that's easily done, you know, like if you're at the office around the water cooler and you're like, oh, I've got this great idea for a beverage and I'm going to name it that. And someone says, oh, do you think that's really going to go down very well? It can really put a damper on everything and make you dismiss it. So if you do have something, I would suggest if you do share it with people who you know are going to support you and have your best interest at heart, or keep it to yourself altogether and see where it takes you, and then share it once it's up and running. That's interesting, you know, because when I first started doing what I do, I'm an astrologer and tarot reader and numerologist here on YouTube. And when I first started doing it, I didn't tell anyone in my family because I knew they'd rip it to shreds. So I just started doing it and I saw how it went. And once I did tell them I was right, they did rip it to shreds. And I was really glad that I didn't say anything at the beginning, because when you're building something of your own, it's fragile. It needs your attention and your care and your love. To expose it to a bunch of criticism and hatefulness via other people, it can destroy this new thing that you care about. So for you guys, Aquarius, since you are somewhat sensitive to being cut down here in August, I would say that something is really important to you. Be very choosy about who you share that with. Okay, the other thing is that a lot of the outer planets are retrograde, right? We've got Pluto in retrograde, Saturn in retrograde, Neptune in retrograde, and Uranus going retrograde at the end of the month. The only planet that's still direct and is going to be direct until September is Jupiter, the lucky planet, and that's in your 4th house of family. So the good luck factor is alive and kicking and providing you with a lot of good stuff and security in your home life. So get the confirmation and affirmation that you need from those people and ignore the naysayers and the haters. Yeah. Okay, so I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with in August. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to audio reading with me. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have a fabulous day, and I'll speak to you, not a fabulous day, I said that before as well. Have a fabulous month in August, and I will speak to you soon. All the best. Take care.